I love meeting people, and my husband, who is usually, a homebody, I've gotten him out and we've gotten him involved, and we're definitely great counterparts, great partners, and we have, I have to tell you, he's not here, but David, make sure you tell him I said this, okay? That I could not do any of this without the support of my husband, the love and support of my husband. Many times people think that mayors make a whole lot of money, and we all know that that is just not true. As a matter of fact, we spend more than actually, in time and in resources than we actually make, because it's his service. And my husband allows me to give that service. I always say when I introduce him, I say, this is the funder of my mayoral service. But service, it's something that I wanted to talk a little bit about, first of all. Everyone has an opportunity to serve, whether it be as a mother, whether it be as a secretary, or as a truck driver, or as an elected official. There is some capacity that you have in your life to serve. Here's where I got my idea of service and when it actually stuck in my head. I remember just talking to my father one day. I'll go a little bit before that, and my dad tells me stories all the time. And one particular story he told me was when he was living in Haiti. My mother and my father were born and raised in Haiti. He said, I was in Haiti, and I was 14 years old, and I went to a movie theater. I went to the movie theaters with my friends. He said, when I walked out after seeing this exciting movie, I see a whole bunch of people running in one direction. And he said, in Haiti, when you see people running in one direction, you run. You don't wait. He's like, people in the United States will take out their cell phones and record what's at the end. He's just like, you just run. And so he said, I ran. At 14 years old, I'm running, and I turn around just to see what we're running from. And he said, I saw this man. He had a blue uniform on, blue beret, black boots. And he said, it turned my stomach because I knew exactly who that person was. That person, that military group, was called the Tonton Macoute. They were there during the time of Papa Doc, Baby Doc, and they were there to do the president's biddings. They were his thugs. They were originally there just to go around and be his Secret Service. Then they started having other duties. Then they started making up duties. And in the end, they were pretty much instilling fear and tyranny and they would play these games. They would line people up, line young men, young women up, and shoot them in the legs. And if they fell, then they would kill them. But if you were able to stay standing, have enough strength to stay standing, or even run away, you'd be maimed, but you'd be able to keep your life. So he said, when I saw what was behind me, I ran. It wasn't odd for one of these people to come in your house, rape your wife, eat your food, sleep in your bed, and there was nothing you could do about it because they pretty much just had full reign. So he said, when I saw who was behind me, I ran even faster. He said he saw this drainage pipe. He crawled in, closed his eyes, and stayed so still. He didn't realize that when he opened his eyes, it was daylight. So he climbed out, and he said, I went home. He said, we do not understand what we have in this country. It's like the president has gone from hope and change to fear and blame. Fear that all of the programs are going to be taken away from you right away. And all of the things that you've come to depend on are just going to be gone. And blame that Congress is not doing anything, and we need to just blame the big business and blame Congress for some of these things. And he said, you don't understand real fear. And I said, I get it, Dad. I get it. You were so scared. You thought these people were going to kill you. He said, yes, but that's not it. He said, the fear that I felt was nothing compared to the fear that my mother felt. If I didn't come home, if a child did not come home in Haiti during those times, they weren't coming home. He said, my mother in her head thought he was dead. So he said that, he crawled out. He said, when we found a path to come to this country, we took it. We took it, we came here legally, and I didn't turn back. I I did not look back. He said, we came here, Mia, I had $10 in my pocket. Pulled ourselves up by our bootstraps. They moved to Brooklyn, New York, where I was born, in Kings County Hospital. And he said that they learned the English language. They studied American history. They wanted to know more about this country because they wanted to be part of it. They raised their hands on the day that they were to become citizens, pledged their allegiance to the American flag, knew exactly what that meant, understood it, meant it, and were just happy to do it, and happy to be there. And he said, ever since then, we have worked so hard for everything we had. In essence, I, as a child, had a front row seat to two people realizing the truth of the American dream. I learned lessons. My parents didn't say, Mia, you're conservative, you're Republican. That wasn't what they were preaching. But through their example, they were saying, you know what, Mia? We're working hard. We're going to do everything we can. You are going to work hard. On Sundays, it wasn't odd for my parents or my mom to cook food for 20 people so that people can just come, because independent people, they give back. And so she was just the giver. They didn't have very much, but they would give. And that's what I know about my parents. First day of college, this is where the service part comes in. First day of college, my dad was as happy, I mean, he was happier than I was. He was just walking around to classes with me, and it was orientation day, and he was talking to the teachers, and I would have been a little embarrassed, but I just loved him, and I just loved seeing how enthused he was, and he actually made me laugh. And when he was about to leave, he looked at me and he said, you're the youngest of I'm the youngest of the 3 children. He's like, you're the youngest, you're the last one that we're putting through school. I am so proud of this day. He's like, I'm so proud. Your mother and I have never taken a handout, ever. We have worked so hard to get you to this point. You will not be a burden to society. You will give back. You will not be a burden to this society, a society that has given us so much. Now remember, he never took a handout, yet he saw what this country did for him, and that was giving him opportunity. And he said, you're going to give back. And those are the things that stick in the back of your head. So when I had an opportunity to run for council, that was in the back of my head. The neighbor said, hey, Mia, you can get things done. Go run for city council. I'm sure all of you can. I'm sure somebody pulled you guys into this mess, right? I'm sure. Somebody pulls you guys into this mess. I mean, I look at people who are elected, you know, most of the time they get up there, it's not like they wake up or they were children and said, I'm going to be this someday. I never got up and said, I'm going to be a council member, I'm going to be a mayor, I'm going to be a congresswoman. But, you know, an opportunity came where I was needed. And so I stepped up because I made a promise to my father. So I became the member, I ran, and I became a member of the council. And it was very fulfilling because I started seeing my children and what they were witnessing. They were witnessing, oh my gosh, the world doesn't revolve around just us. My mom is helping make some of these things happen. 2008, everything was going well in Saratoga Springs. We were having a great time. Building permits were coming in. You know, there was no need to actually set a municipal tax, because what they did in 1997, when they were incorporated, Saratoga Springs was incorporated, we never actually put in a municipal tax. We just adopted what was happening with the county, and that was an agricultural tax. So it was 2 state roads, no infrastructure, nothing. But building permits were coming in that there was no need. I mean, they were saying there's no need. So in essence, we were taking one-time revenues and paying for ongoing expenditures. I remember saying to the council members, what are we going to do if homes just stop building? And they said, oh, that will never happen. No, that'll never happen. This is the hot place. We get to pick and choose now. We get to pick and choose. Well, of course, 2008 hit. 2008. What happened in 2008? All the buildings stopped, which means all of the money stopped coming in. We could not pay for 1/3 of our police department. Not 1/3. Let alone fire. So we had to roll up our sleeves. We had to sleeves, and we cut. We cut everything. People were so mad at us for cutting their baby contest. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, you can still have a baby contest, we're just not going to fund it. You can still have civic events, we're just not going to fund it. You can still have all of these things, we're just not going to fund it. Because I believe that there is a role that government plays. There is a role that government plays. And that is to provide public safety. We have to provide public safety. So we rolled up our sleeves. $3.5 million, we cut down to $78,000. And for the first time, we set a municipal tax code. And we did it in a specific way. Some cities, they balance their budgets on utilities. We tend to think that utilities should pay for utilities, and the property tax should pay for public safety, and everything else should just kind of pay for itself, as long as it's an essential government role, which is, we have to, by state statute, have treasurers and recorders and different things like that. So as I'm looking through these line items, I looked through them again yesterday just to, go through and make sure and understand where we're going. And when you look at the bottom line, make sure that it's not growing, it's not, it's not growing, it has to grow with the population in terms of different things like that. But you have to make sure that it's not growing. First year as mayor, I lowered property tax because I believe that you shouldn't be paying for something that you don't really need. So we lowered property tax. Let me tell you what that did. If 2008 did not happen, Saratoga Springs would not be in the shape that it's in today. 2008 was one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do. It's funny because when I teach my tread class, I talk about how difficult it is to run, but how it's worth it at the end because you gain something at the end. And again, it's how you deal with certain situations. Now we've got some big problems in Washington. It is easy to be a leader when things are going well. It's easy to steer ship. I could probably learn how to, steer a boat in calm waters. Put me on a boat when it's stormy and there's a perfect storm, and I will definitely kill you. I can tell you that. Put me on, because it's easy to do that. It's easy to do that. It is, what a leader is made of when things are difficult. You know what people are made of when things are difficult, and things got difficult. And we could have buried our heads in the sand and listened to staff, and they said, okay, we're just going to raise property tax by 400%. That didn't happen. We've got some problems in Washington. We do. In cities, we balance our budgets. We cut when we need to cut. And we do what's necessary to provide for the people in our communities. The essential services, like public safety. We do what we need to. We don't kick the can down the road. We don't say we're going to leave it, we're just not going to deal with this. And many times, we don't have the opportunities to come up and champion a bill. They come at us, and we deal with it. We are overspending in Washington. Everybody knows this. What are we going to do about it? We are overregulating in Washington. Everyone understands this. What are we going to do about it? And we are crippling our nation by providing everything for everyone at